Intro. It's intro time. Shush. Everyone shut up. What's going on, main characters? It's your boy Talks Too Much with Third Party Studios. With me, as always, is my boy Cody. What's up, my dude?
What's up?
We got a lot of stories to get into today. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed, a little low-key today, so we're just going to hang out, have a good time, talk about some stories, talk about pop culture and news, and we will be hanging out with you guys in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Share the video out there. Come hang out with us. Smash that like button, and if you guys have, if there are any stories you guys want to hear about, or if you guys like any topics we cover today, make sure to let us know in the comments so that we can get you updates in the future. What have you been up to, C?
Playing too many video games.
All of them? You've been playing all
too many at once. Where I'll like play a couple hours of this, get through some story, and then switch off to something else, get through a little bit of that. And then I spent like 8 hours in Chivalry 2 the other day.
8 hours? Jesus. Did you go to work at all?
Oh, I messed up my back sleeping.
Oh, what? That's not.
It happens, man. It happens.
No, I mean, yeah, yeah, it does. I know.
I sleep hardcore, man.
I sleep the way I live. Breaking my back.
Breaking my back.
Like, listen, I understand. I get it. Like, you do hurt your back. People do hurt their back sleeping. Doesn't make it less silly. It's like you didn't do.
It is ridiculous. Like, how did we evolve as a human race if that is a problem?
We all just stopped learning how to sleep on our stomachs. Like, I don't understand. Like, I sleep on my stomach, so like it's weird to me when people sleep on their sides or on their back, looking straight up at the world. Especially people who like sleep on their back but fall asleep with the TV on. It's like you're staring into a flashlight. It's like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, I had to stop doing that because a 65-inch in your room when you get a white screen, it's like a flashbang, bro.
Dude, it's like flashbang. Yeah, dude. I imagine the people in the comments are gonna be like, "That is so relatable. You guys are like my people."
So I switched to my laptop instead.
No, actually, when I was in the apartment, I had a 60 inch, just 60 inch. And
60.
It was just a small bedroom, so I just had the TV at the foot of my bed, but it was a Samsung, so it's like one of the brightest TVs out there, so it only got so dark. I think.
Right. It's like I'm sleeping with the lights on all the time.
Dude, I have made, in my current setup, I have made every precaution possible to try to dim down my TV screen. I've even been thinking about like putting like some sort of like thin curtain in front of the screen so that I can like even cover the light more. And I'm talking like a thin curtain. I'm not talking like a blackout curtain or like even like the like drapes. I'm talking about like just a thin curtain, like a thin bed sheet almost that you just drag in front of it. That way, if you're like,
if you just shut it off,
because then you can't hear it. Like, I mean,
I leave my laptop on all night, and it's going down this weird YouTube rabbit hole. But
are you watching Hulk twerk with Hitler? Is that the like stuff you wake up to in the morning? It's
like it's nice to wake up to. That's why I strained my back. I was trying to shut it off.
You woke yourself up, and you're mid twerk watching like watch some weird workout channel with Hitler and the Hulk. If you guys don't get the reference in the chat, like it's apparently old YouTube, the algorithm was parents would put their kids in front of the the tablet and put on YouTube and put on kid shows, and then the algorithm would feed them all of these things that were tagged for kids, and they just like this really out there content. And so like the Hulk and Hitler references that's what the Hulk and Hitler references are. It's that old story.
Yeah, if you leave autoplay go on YouTube, you're gonna get some weird shit.
Well, and that's why if I have to leave something on autoplay, I've got playlists built up. Like, do you use playlists at all? I mean, you pretty much find new stuff
just
all the time.
For music, yeah.
Okay, because I have playlists, categorical playlists. Like if I can't get to a video, I put it in a playlist for later. So I have like 7 different watch later folders of varying like topics.
I have like 2,000 videos in my watch later that I never get to.
Dude, I don't know. Did you know that watch later had a limit?
Does it?
5,000 is the limit, and I found it.
You reached it.
I reached it. I've been cleaning it out. I got down to like 2,000, but there's no like rapid deselect
no,
and nuke inside of YouTube's folder or watch later folder, so you have to like swipe confirm, swipe, confirm, swipe, confirm.
Totally, dude.
It's not the slowest thing ever. It's not the slowest ever, but it is still kind of annoying.
Monotonous shit.
Well, what do you think? Should we jump into our first story?
Yeah, let's talk about some shit. That's gonna be shit.
Yeah. We got a lot of different a lot of stories to cover today. Before we jump into that, just a reminder, guys, if you haven't already, make sure your YouTube is set up correctly so that you can do the boom. Okay.
What the fuck are you doing?
We are professionals. Just a reminder, guys, if you haven't already, go check out the merch store. Links at the top of the description. It's a lot of cool stuff in there. We have the unlimited edition of the original Vanguard shirt. We have the amateur creator t-shirts, the third-party studios t-shirt, the main characters t-shirt. We all know you guys out there. You're all the main characters. And then we have the Wrath of Sand and Snow limited edition t-shirts as well. Go check them out. Super comfortable. A lot of different options in there to pick from. And we are looking at updating the store with some new merch in there. So go check it out. Get your t-shirts and rep your swag, homie. My dogs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's get all right. First story.
Sorry, my mind went there.
First story of the day: Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay. Okay, from that park place, we have Francesco Solbach. Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay Twitch stream shows a buggy, bland game that puts no fears to rest. So, what are the fears? Like Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's a DEI. It's a DEI game. They went out of their way to make sure this was absolutely the opposite of what their like loyal fan base, their like lockstep player count was asking for. And I mean, and I'm referencing to like they've always wanted like a Assassin's Creed based out of Japan, right? Like you were telling me that, right?
Yeah, and their excuse back in the day was that it would be too generic. But they've obviously switched stances on that.
Yeah. Well, now it's not generic. No video game has ever put a black lead character and a female supporting character in the game before. That's never happened. Never.
Well, they're both leads, if that makes you feel better.
Oh man, even better. I mean, like, it's so original, so stunning and brave.
You know, so like a bunch of YouTubers got like 5 hours or so hands-on with the game, and I watched a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems really just boring. Like you can't play as Yasuke all the time because he has like no parkour skills, so you can't get anywhere with him. So you have to switch to the chick.
He has no parkour skills. What is he, like, tank?
No parkour, no stealth. Yeah, he can run through concrete like railings.
What?
On sidewalks.
What? That's
it's little Black Hulk, man.
Well, I mean, why didn't we have that in? I think that it's about time. In 2025, we needed Black Hulk. We had Red Hulk, we had Green Hulk, and obviously
Gray Hulk.
Gray Hulk. Obviously, Bruce Banner is white. So until we change that too, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, there's like no options. Like in order to play as Yasuke, you're basically just running into situation, constantly fighting. There's no other way to play him.
I love accidentally discovering a reason why they haven't race swapped a character. Like you can't make Hulk black because then he'd just be just always be angry.
He's always angry. Systemic racism makes me switch to the Hulk.
That's my secret cap. I'm always angry.
Always angry.
Man, that's funny. But yeah, so the streams, I mean, it sounds like the streams went fine as far as like the streams went good, but the game itself was buggy. You watched a few of them, so like, is that what you were seeing? Was it just boring, or did you notice bugs too?
No one really talked about bugs, but I want to put it past it. It's a game that's coming out in current year. It's gonna come out buggy, and then they'll patch it later on because no one puts out a finished product anymore.
Oh man, last year we got a few, right? I mean, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marines 2. I mean, we got a couple of good, like, fully polished. I would say, I would make the argument, and people might find flaws in this, but I would say Black Ops 6 was complete. It wasn't a buggy mess coming out of the gate. I think maybe they had, yeah, I don't even think their first patch wasn't even related to like mechanical issues in the game. I think they had a few multiplayer issues that they cleaned up a little, but I mean, even
yeah, surprisingly, Surprisingly, the Veilguard came out pretty polished, even though a lot of it sucked in certain aspects. But
Marvel Rivals was complete. Marvel Rivals was a complete game. That was. I'm still blown
yeah,
away. I'm still
the
blown away by
Chinese
that one.
man,
They do it good, man. What do I say? Like,
they're good.
I mean, I have opinions, but I have an opinion, but I can't complain about their game quality. Like, if every video game we ever got came out of China from now on, I might be okay with that.
Well, they're making Western games better than the Westerners, so
Exactly, but also they made a couple of anime that are on par with Japanese anime, and maybe even you might even make the case that they're better.
such as
Dandadan, Dandadan
uh,
Dandadan is like it's like at the top of a lot of watch lists right now. And
I think it's a FOMO anime.
FOMO. Am I
Yeah, where people like have to watch it in order to be in the
in the know?
zeitgeist.
Oh,
Yeah, the know.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, and I think so. That's why, I mean, that was the big reason why I got into it. It was there was so much hype around it, and then there was so much hype around it, and then it became. Then it actually was decent. Like the anime itself isn't that fun. I didn't really care about the anime's quality that much, but I mean, it was. I mean, it was fine. It was just okay. I would say I wouldn't make the argument that it's like peak anime. And I'm just I'm just going back and looking at Dan to make sure I'm correct. The manga it's a Japanese manga, but I was pretty sure that the anime itself was put out by a Chinese studio, which would have been the argument I was trying to make. I'm trying to confirm the studio.
Oh, you might be wrong.
I mean, typical, classic James. Yes, I was wrong. Science Saru Inc. Out of Japan is the studio that put out Dandadan. What about Fire Force? Wasn't Fire Force China? It's Fire Force Japan too.
Fire Force are the same people that did Soul Eater. No.
Oh yeah, it was. Yep. Hold on. Chinese anime. Let me see what are the best Chinese anime? I'm trying to think of. I'm sure there's something I'm missing here. There was definitely at least one game that I thought, or one show that I thought was awesome. And this is not where I'm gonna find it.
It's just gonna give you all the Chinese anime.
Yeah, what was it? Highly recommend Sola do. Yeah, I'm not seeing whatever's on the top of my mind. I've got one in my brain, but I cannot picture.
I don't think I've seen any of those.
Yeah, I don't recognize these names either. I'm gonna surrender on my topic or on my.
But anyway.
Yeah, retreat on my point.
Assassin's Creed is not looking great for Ubisoft.
Well, I mean, the last several months about it, they got. Not only were the fans pissed off. First off, the fandom was pissed off. You had a lot of shills coming out defending it. You had your classic journalists like coming out and saying shit about the people who were critiquing Yasuke. They had the history fucked up. They had the representation fucked up. They had like the way they were telling the history about it was so bad that literally Japanese legislators came into the argument. It's like you have pop culture spreading to politics in Japan. And
I never thought about this, but I think Ryan Kinnell brought it up. It's the first Assassin's Creed game where you actually play as someone who existed in history.
Oh, that's
instead of being like a written in character where you're surrounded by people that live in it.
No,
when you're playing as a historical figure.
And they got it wrong.
They got it wrong.
They got it wrong. They're like, we could. You know what we love? We love black stories. Let's tell a white person's perspective of a black story. Let's change it up.
In Japan.
I love how they struggled to find black stories out of Africa, and they're just like, we'll just do this one guy who kind of is known in Japan. Well,
they did Africa with Origins, and everyone liked Bayek as a character in Origins was generally well received.
Well, and so we have so Ubisoft's Twitch channel, which boasts over 1.1 million followers, barely managed to peak 15,000 viewers. The live stream was intended to highlight the game's new and improved gameplay, reportedly. Let's see. We got like 15 seconds from them. Let's play it.
Sounds good.
Hold on.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Little dog on the screen.
He's not sure.
He's not sure.
Wow, gameplay.
We're not cool like that yet. Don't worry, I will
Trust
earn
me.
your.
So I mean, I wish there was more to that.
Could they not pet it?
They couldn't pet it. They couldn't pet it. They weren't able to interact with it, and the dog kind of panned its camera towards them, but didn't follow them, or didn't like engage with them at all. Besides panning its
Surprised
camera.
You can't kill it. Oh, you can't hunt animals in this game, but
Okay.
you can kill indiscriminately.
You can't hunt animals in this game. That's like
Yeah,
why?
like in all the other ones, you can hunt animals and upgrade gear and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's more of a I don't know, like Japanese culture. Like in Ghost of Tsushima, you
Mhm.
can't hunt certain animals and whatnot.
Okay. So like
But-
in America, you're not allowed to hunt the bald eagle. That-
We love to hunt deer in America. They hate that shit in Japan.
Really? I mean,
True
there's
story.
well, I suppose that. Wow, I wonder how much. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't really matter about the deer thing. It's like, I mean, the
But
hunting.
you can kill random civilians,
Yes.
and you get XP from it too.
Really? Oh, I feel like you could farm that pretty easily. I feel like that's
Just
not.
go around the whole city slaughtering everyone.
Dude, I mean, so do you think we talked about this originally? I mean, we've covered this game quite a bit, and in a lot of the topics, it in a lot of the times we've covered it, it's circled back to how will this game do? And I think a lot of people were really expecting that this game would still perform insanely well, regardless of all the flack and all the like media attention around it, the bugs, whether or not the game is or isn't boring. I mean, all of these issues with the game. Has your perspective changed on that at all? Do you still think this game will be successful just because it's an Assassin's Creed game?
Maybe because like Valhalla was considered one of the worst, and that was their best performing game.
Well,
So it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, like I'm out. Valhalla. No, I guess I played Mirage, which that sucked. But I'm kind of out with Assassin's Creed.
because we have this other story. I'm not switching topics, but the story goes: EA stock drops as Dragon Age the Veilguard misses sales mark by 50%. Like EA is much bigger than Ubisoft, and if they can't predict their market or market size, I mean, it might be an indicator that the industry is more like aware than I think even you and I are thinking. I mean, if Veilguard missed by 50%, so I mean,
Which I don't know what kind of numbers they wanted 3 million copies sold or something.
yeah,
And
so
I think
it goes EA CEO Andrew Wilson confirmed the game engaged approximately 1.5 million players, which is 50% lower than expected. So yeah, if Dragon Age Veilguard missed its player count or its prospective audience count by 1.5 million, and it's Dragon Age Veilguard, I don't see any reason.
Right.
I mean, maybe that tells us a little bit more about like what'll happen with Assassin's Creed, because yeah, if EA can't predict that correctly, Ubisoft definitely can't. I mean, like, what about Star Wars Outlaws? Like, Star Wars Outlaws is a Star Wars game, which should have like a lock-in audience too, right? I mean, I don't know if it's different for Star Wars games. Seems like they spit out so many that unless it's a AAA game, then just a big deal. It maybe.
Okay, I wanted some perspective when it came to Veilguard. So they about 1.5 they sold. I was like, well, how good did Baldur's Gate 3 do? And they did 5.5. So
Whoa! I didn't know that. That's a new number
yeah,
for me.
I thought it was like I didn't think that many people played it. I know it's like highly regarded and everything, but it's a very niche game.
Yeah, I mean, Baldur's Gate. I mean, Baldur's Gate covers a lot of elements. But it is still a turn-based RPG, fantasy RPG. I mean, the fact that who is the audience for that? You have Dungeons and Dragons fans, you have fantasy RPG players, you have strategy players, you have competitive min-maxers, you have people who like stories. with like evolving stories with consequential dialogue. You have the people who like really just come in to see Shadowheart. And so I mean, they have a huge. I
I
mean,
came here from the subreddit R34 Baldur's Gate.
exactly. It's like that's at least 1 million players right there.
Yeah, and Veilguard, they made their game to be as accessible as possible to try to hit everyone, and apparently it got no one.
Yeah, it turns out if you don't have a target audience, or if your target audience is so small that they that they don't like exist practically in the marketplace, that your game might not succeed. But that's
when you're trying to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, kind of thing.
well, and isn't that kind of what we're talking about? Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's
Same, yeah.
I mean, I think that depending on how you look at this, I think you could still make the case that Assassin's Creed is like Assassin's Creed is not a dead franchise. It's still alive. It still has a loyal player base. This will not turn off everyone. It's still like it still means a little bit to the like keep in perspective that there is an industry around it. It's not just Assassin's Creed that you have to think about when you're trying to predict what's going to happen with this stuff, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, you got all these people that aren't in the news zeitgeist either. They see a Japanese Assassin's Creed game, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, get it.
Normies. We call
normies, fucking normies.
fucking normies. We say normies affectionately, everybody. Like we love you, even the normies, especially the normies.
You're all stupid.
Stupid. Yeah. Why are you so dumb? Uncle Rod.
I think it'll do fine. It's not gonna hit what they wanted to or what previous games did, but
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, and that's pretty much all there is to really say about it. We'll have to wait and see. When does it release again? Is it March or February, or is it later?
February 14th.
So it's soon, only a couple weeks out.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Oh man, there's nothing represents love more than Japanese
Black History Month.
/ Black History Month. Oh yeah. Did you hear Donald Trump is looking at switching Pride Month to Veterans Month or something like? I think it's I don't know what the actual word he says was, but
Better. I'm sick of my birthday being gay as hell.
yeah, she's freaking gay.
So gay.
For chicken it make it gay and lame. All right.
Well, like Veilguard, like, so BioWare is a company that I really liked back in the day.
Once upon a time.
And this is going to, their failure with the Veilguard is going to affect Mass Effect 4, which they're currently working on.
Ooh, that's
And if Mass Effect 4 comes out to be something like Veilguard, where it's horrible writing, shitty dialogue and whatnot,
yep.
then you miss the whole point.
You know what?
It's like Mass Effect is one of the best written series.
Right. Well, and Elon Musk brought it up, and I'm sure he wasn't the first one to have this idea, but it's like AI generated dialogue trees would be really amazing. And do you like?
Oh yeah, where it's constantly switching, like in game, it's like
Yeah.
procedurally generated, like almost, where it's like, all right, your response, yeah.
Well, and
That would be cool. It could lend to some weird conversations at the same time, though.
yeah, it would be interesting. Did you ever see that AI game where it's like oh, how does it work? So you are trapped in your girlfriend's apartment with her, and she's an insane psycho killer, and her dialogue and her so life. So her dialogue is driven by I think it's specifically ChatGPT or OpenAI. And basically anything you do that attempts to leave that is too obvious will trigger her to attempt to kill you. But you could otherwise talk to her. You could you could type your responses and your words to her, what your character says to her, and then she'll engage with that. And like depending on how the objective of the game is to escape. I've seen a few gameplays of that. It's funny. It's funny. It's in like anime art style, so it's like a drawn out like kind of an interactive game like that. It's probably like really small in like context, the development and everything like that. It's really, really small. You made a point about Ubisoft and the financials effect, like the financials behind Veilguard and other games like really affecting Mass Effect coming up. Well,
Mhm.
that's actually kind of what happens in the next story. So I want to jump over to this one. So in the next story, Warhammer 40k, the report comes: unannounced Warhammer RPG canceled by Games Workshop. And that story broke last week. It's honestly, considering what we
Do we
got,
know who is developing it?
yes, I believe that is in the article. Okay, so the canceled game was developed by Thought Pennies, a studio that faced layoffs and strategic direction change from its publisher. So Thought Pennies,
Never heard of them.
I haven't either, but we do know who they are. We can look into them deeper. So
Yeah.
there's so much revolving around Warhammer right now. Yeah, it's there's so much revolving around it. It's like you have the TV show, and obviously just Amazon paying for the licensing for Warhammer 40k is cash in their pocket, because it doesn't cost them anything for the license to exist and be used by Amazon. So they should be getting cash flow from that. They should be getting money from that. You have the financial blockbuster of Space Marines 2, which should have filled their coffers at least somewhat.
We should be glad that this got canceled, because I just went to Thought Penny's website. In their kind of like about us, their storytellers, Thought Pennies exist to bring full social storytelling to role-playing games. So it'd
Oh,
be a very socially generated kind of bullshit.
Thought Penny's games. Let me pull that up for the audience so they can see it too. Oh yeah, they were the ones creating a Warhammer game. I don't even need to dig deeper. It's like, what the fuck? What was
It's
Games
very, very gay.
what the hell? Like
Doesn't it just remind you of Warhammer though, when you look at this homepage?
all I think about is the Emperor and the Tyranids, the orcs, yeah, all the things. Yeah, so we'll go to About Us, social storytellers. Thought Pennies exist to bring social. Okay, so that was I bet that's way too small for you guys. Okay, so go back up to. All right, so here we are. So Thought Pennies exist to bring full social storytelling to role-playing games. We are here to bring we are here to bring to life the dream we all had when we first heard there was a massive multiplayer RPGs of players living their distinct RPG fantasies in a community of like-minded people, where the game supported and encouraged collaboration, and there was both a history and a future to the ongoing campaign that was the community story. I'll be honest, that specifically, like, yeah, the social elements of things, I get what you were, I get what, like, I see what you caught, but multiplayer RPGs, that is kind of there is a social element to that. Maybe
Right, it could have just meant like good.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Not a better theme park or one with more choices, but worlds where communities must interact and work together to make choices that change the ongoing stories of those worlds and face the consequences of their actions.
What kind of fucking RPG were they going for with Warhammer?
I don't know. Well, honestly, Warhammer Universe is kind of ideal for
We celebrate our differences and take a people-first approach to game development.
Yep, that's it. Okay. I changed my perspective on there you go. That's enough for me. Like I imagine people will say, you guys are triggered by everything. You guys are way too sensitive to this stuff. It's not even what they meant or what they did. They didn't do anything, and they're not even talking DEI. Like, guys, we can read this language. We understand what that means. We've seen it before. We've played the games. We've spent the money. We've done enough. Like, I honestly, at this point, you have to earn back the goodwill. It's not our job to give you guys the benefit of the doubt anymore as studios, as publishers, as game companies. Like, you haven't earned it. Like,
apparently there's like no in-house develop. It's all remote.
Well, Games Workshop isn't a game company. Okay, hard pause. Let me fix that a little bit, because they're not a company that does like big video games out of themselves. They basically own the license for Games Workshop. They do the model print. They do the 3D models for the Warhammer universe, and I mean that's pretty much
I
what
mean, it sounds like they don't even have like a home base. They're kind of just like work from home, kind of
that tracks though. I mean that
fully remote work, lifestyle focused. Hires resemble
like
adults and treats them as such. Their job openings is we celebrate diversity and the people first approach to game development.
this is still thought
We are
pennies.
fully remote. Yeah, I
Oh,
was going. I looked into careers. It's at the
okay.
bottom there.
I'm so glad you were like, I like that you could do the research in real time so I don't have to like have a billion articles pulled up while we're going through all this. But yeah, committing to fair, transparent halls. Okay, so well, there you go.
There are no job openings. I can't. I can't.
Well, they did just cut a bunch of people. Like, so that
True.
okay, what was it? So the canceled game was developed by Thought Pennies. The studio faced layoffs and strategic direction change from its publisher. Okay, so that that tracks. And honestly, I wonder how this relates. People have been talking about like these like Disney. There was an article about Disney we chose not to talk about today. With Bob Iger and Disney doubling down on their DEI and DEI and diversity like policies in their internal policies, while a bunch of other companies have been cutting those programs, cutting those policies, and
Mhm.
it all kind of ties back to like now Trump is in office, now it's politics, and all of that jazz too. I wonder if the reason Thought Pennies had these layoffs that apparently it seems to have cost them a really big project. I think I think
Yeah, you see, like there was someone in the government. This one lady, her job title was Chief Diversity Officer,
mhm.
and then Trump goes into office, and she changes her job description immediately.
Oh, well, that was smart on
Now
her
I'm
part.
just a senior officer.
Just a senior in charge of something. Yeah, that will last long. I honestly, you're gonna have Elon Musk is gonna be like, all right, go look at any and all go look at any and all divisions of the government that changed what they've been doing or what their names are. Like, look for the change. The change is a flag. You can find that. You could spot those types of changes. You could spot those changes by filtering,
Right.
or just a little bit of investigating. Holy shit! How did we start talking about that from Warhammer? We hard
We always go down a rabbit hole.
and I'm fine with that. It's fun. I like doing it. But I think that the thing that's confusing me is that obviously Thought Pennies had a big issue, but the main the first takeaway is despite positive developments, a planned Warhammer franchise game was canceled due to funding issues. I'm wondering where the money is going. Like, they've had a pretty good year. I mean, the biggest thing that I'd say the biggest thing that happened against them was the female custody debacle, which is not even the topic of this conversation specifically, but I would make the argument that you maybe brought some attention to your company from normies or people who are on the internet in the culture war but may not be deep into Warhammer's lore, and then they started getting into it, investigating it deeper. I would say like it's probably a 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 trade-off with who you got rid of as a client base or customer base to who you brought in now who are just getting introduced to Warhammer for the first time. I mean, you didn't increase anything, but I bet you probably saved yourself something. So if that's the worst
I
thing,
don't know. It's kind of funny too because there's like no one to fire in in their company. It's a small company. This is like 11 to 50 employees.
yeah.
So
Well, and
he is that inept, and it looks like the CCO Daniel Erickson was the lead dev in SOTOR, Star Wars: Old Republic.
then yeah, it seems like if you were going to invest in yourself anywhere, this would have been a good one to do it. Now, in my opinion, after looking through their website and having you kind of catch a couple of things I missed, I would say Thought Pennies was the wrong company to do it. But if Warhammer 40k had like a Destiny level MMO experience where you were, and then like you could choose a faction of the Space Marines to participate in or play as, and then the game evolved as the players engaged with it and did more with it. Honestly, that's a kind of RPG experience that I think a lot of people do want and do ask for. So as I was originally reading Thought Penny's breakdown, that's kind of what I was hearing from what they were saying. And
It is like that is a term, the social RPG or whatever. It's supposed to be, it's PvE, so players work together and whatnot. But there were other things in their site where it's like, yeah, we're focusing on diversity and whatnot.
exactly, yeah, and so a lot. I mean, we have that we share that perspective of like social RPG where it's players versus the game. I mean, in fact, one of the before we started Third Party Studios, one of the projects I kind of pitched to Cody was a third person sword and shield RPG based in a fictional world where the players do fight against fight against the game, the players versus what
Environment.
thank you, players versus environment experience. So I mean, that was kind of something that I had an idea for too. So honestly, I'm a little
It
surprised.
could be fun if it was done right, but
This is probably not the studio that could have done it. And I mean, the layoffs themselves that probably put a big nail in that coffin. But if they just switched studios, I mean, it's an unannounced project. They couldn't have been too deep into it that they couldn't switch developers and studios. And if it's an Unreal Engine 5, I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is becoming a standard. Not like the only thing people can make them in, but so yeah, actually that was one of the takeaways. It was planned to be a co-op player versus environment action RPG made in Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, I mean,
that seems like a lot for that small studio to take on that only works from home.
it would be. I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is the big advantage to it is that it has so many things already ingrained in it. And I'm pretty sure that Space Marines 2 was developed in Unreal Engine 5. So there's probably a lot of like 3D models and things like that they can port over, copy. I mean, there's a few things they could do to save themselves a little bit of work, but I mean, without, I mean, you're still a few $100,000 in, you're still I'm sorry, not a few $100,000, you're still several millions of dollars into the development of it. You still do need a team to build this thing, especially at the scale that Warhammer 40k demands.
Yeah. Well, shucks. Another Warhammer 40k project.
Yeah, down the
Who
drain.
would have thought?
Well, it's frustrating. I mean, this is the kind of thing that would be hype as the TV show unveils itself, especially if done correctly.
Right.
So definitely would have liked it. There's other stories to jump into. You want to switch off to
So sad.
so sad. Actually,
So sad.
we've been talking about video games. I think maybe I want to ask you about this other story we have. CI Games CEO says RIP DEI on X after fans overwhelmingly vote to end identity politics in gaming. So like identity politics in gaming is like a really frustratingly vague because, and I wish people took the time to like dive into that a little bit deeper. It's based, but give more examples, give more feedback. But I mean, in an article like this, you're not going to list out every example. I'm just being a little bit whiny about it. I would like more clarity so that people, like the people who are convinced already know. The people who aren't convinced, either, I mean, whoever can be convinced, you need to show them more than what we already have. You can't, I mean, it's hard for me to just see these end, like, it seems like a lot of people are slowing down on the culture war, I guess is my criticism. And slowing down, and they're like, we're winning, so they're dialing it back.
Right. That's always been a problem.
Yeah. It's like, you can't leave baby Thanos. You have to go back and do the thing.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Everyone's tired of shit being, everyone's tired of their entertainment being based on identity politics instead of good storytelling or whatever. Because everyone's so focused on themselves. It's very, what's the word for it?
Oh, narcissistic.
Yeah, everyone's so like narcissistic these days.
Yeah. It's
like, I don't see myself represented in so and so show. It's like, the person doesn't need to look like you in order for you to relate to that character. It's not like I was watching a bunch of Jackie Chan movies when I was a kid, being like, oh man, I wish he was white, then I could relate to him.
exactly. It's a logical fallacy that like it doesn't work. You don't need it to be like that. if you're watching anything and you are thinking to yourself that you don't see yourself in this show, you're not even engaging with the show in good faith, because you're not there to listen to the story. You're there to see yourself. Like you're
Right.
it's like going to McDonald's expecting to get Dairy Queen. It's like you're not trying to get the McDonald's experience. You're trying to get whatever you want from this thing specifically. Like I
Yeah,
can
but based off of that logic, I can only enjoy entertainment if a ginger is the lead.
oof, your time is
So
done.
Yeah,
Your
I'm
time
in
is
a drought right now. Bro.
Your time is over. We have
I don't have any entertainment.
well, you have arguably some of the most entertainment. You're just not going to get any more. You could go back and watch some of the greatest movies of all time, but you're never getting another one.
Yeah, that's true.
So Grum's actually replied to the whole chain is there is so much momentum and speed behind Trump's delete DEI orders. Every company in every sector is responding. Games will fold too, except of the weird European holdouts and clueless Japanese companies 2 years late to the trends. Yeah. And so this is Marek Tyminski at CI Games. We stand for at CI Games we stand for equality of opportunity. Hire the best person for the job. Talent over buzzwords. Real diversity and inclusion always. RIP to DEI. It's done. And
Yay!
and you know what? Kudos to that guy.
That's how it's supposed to be: equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome.
Exactly. That's the I don't understand why someone would want why someone would even want a world where you get like pigeonholed into a position that you're not qualified for. And I mean, like,
Or just to know you're hired based off of your looks instead of your merit.
exactly. And I think the argument from people who are pro DEI is always, we're talking about two equally qualified persons. I'm like, how do you judge that? Like, how are you saying that they're both equally? Like, if they're both equal, I mean, first off, you have, like, if you have to bring it down to, like, completely, like, you don't know the name of the person, you don't know the skin color of the person, you know nothing about the person except that this guy worked at one company for 3 years, and this guy worked at the same company for the same 3 years in the same position. I'm like, you're telling me that person exists? Like, both of these people had the same start date in the same position at the same company, supporting the same customers, supporting the same complexity. It's like, you can't
Yeah, no, it's real. There's just the two of them. So
yeah. It's insane. Like, honestly, like, if you
right,
actually
and they also have to know like the company's like culture and whatnot. So it's like, blue-haired feminists ain't really in our company culture because we're like,
mechanics and stuff, engineers.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's not like they can't be, but like it's not like they can't be, but there is cultural clash there. You have
You can't have a feminist activist like developing the old school like Gears of War, whereas like a frat basically was making the game.
exactly. And just so we know who Marek Tyminski is, this is his games catalog. Yeah, so this is his games catalog. They had they were responsible for Lords of the Fallen 2014 and the reboot, or was it just a remake? Did they just repolish it? Is that the story behind Lords of the Fallen?
I think it was a remake, and I'm not sure. I don't think they did it.
Oh, okay. They were just talking about it or announcing it.
They did the original. I don't think they did the remake.
And then the Sniper Ghost Warrior series. They have a lot of really good games under their belt, and I'm glad to see that they're speaking up about this, because you're not getting not every CEO is willing to come out here and just absolutely blast DEI in this way. This is very
Right.
this is very upfront. Who was it? We were talking about this. I don't know that it was Warhammer 40k, but we were talking about another CEO who came out. This was like back in October, I think. Anyway, there are people who are coming out and speaking up against these programs, but they are few and far between. It's not like it's an industry standard to come out and condemn all of this, but this is the poll that he was actually basing that decision on. So the poll goes, in a medieval fantasy action RPG experience, what do you prefer to choose between? We will follow the final result. Body type A / body type B, male or female, none of the above. honestly, it's overwhelming. I am a little surprised that like none of the above was beaten out by body type A and body type B. So, I would rather have body type choice than nothing. Like I'm a little surprised, but
Body type A or B. It's very ambiguous. You have no idea what I am.
yep.
I'm an A or a B.
But honestly, like it's nearly 90% is a mega majority. Like that's
50,000 votes. Yeah.
yeah, that's in one day. Or no, I'm sorry, not 50,000 in one day, but that's 50,000 votes is it's absurd that's I mean it's on X. So I know that a lot of the people who are pro this ideology moved over to what was it, Blue Sky? But they also, I think a lot of them came back too. So I think they're just kind of either floating between both
that's right. I
platforms.
forgot about Blue Sky.
Everyone did. It's not important.
It's like, what the fuck is Blue Sky? It's like, oh yeah.
That might come back to bite me. What if Blue Sky becomes like the new, like ultra social media platform, like the one to be on? I still won't be on it, but it would be. I mean, I held out on Twitter on being on Twitter till Elon
You know
Musk
how
came on.
crazy you would go if you were on Blue Sky and just reading everyone's shit on there?
Oh,
You'd lose your goddamn mind.
I mean, I would make the case that like I might just not survive the I might just not survive. It would be bad. I would go on there and I think I would start shit posting. I don't post a lot. We don't post a lot on X. Like we post some of our shorts, some of our like updated videos are on X, and we've been talking about multi-streaming and switching it up and doing other things too with X, getting X more involved. But I mean, I don't shit post on there. I bet I'd have a lot of fun shit posting on Blue Sky.
You might want to do it under your own name instead of third-party studios. So
honestly, I think it'd be great for the channel if we just we just piss off a bunch of blue-haired feminists. That would be so freaking funny. It would be the best day. No, CI Games CEO going out this hard. It's really encouraging. It shows that it shows that the criticism I just had of, well, the fight is like people are ending the fight. Well, there's still big people who are coming out and saying more. So we'll see.
yeah, it's just if CI Games made games that interested me.
Yeah,
I
right.
haven't played a single one of theirs.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's how do you have a shooter game compete? I mean, these are definitely more niche. I mean, I wouldn't say they're niche. I would say they're kind of like Rainbow Six-esque, like in their like fandom and like how people like them and receive and like look to them. It's like if you're a fan of Rainbow Six, you're probably playing Rainbow Six forever. If you're a fan of Sniper Ghost Warrior, you're probably playing Sniper Ghost Warrior forever. So it's they probably have
It's more of a
following.
PvE game than a PvP. So.
Right, but they have their My point is that they have their following, and I think that it's not going anywhere. Captain America's been kind of interesting to think about. It's coming out soon. What is
when does it come out? I know it's next month. But...
Valentine's. I think that's a Valentine's Day release too. Might have to double check that. This is going to be talking mostly about numbers. Oh wait, no. February 14th. So yeah. Yep. So February 14th around Valentine's Day.
You're gonna take your date to see Captain African American?
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah. I'm sure it'll be their favorite picture of the year. It'll be the best.
Yeah.
The story is that Captain America Brave New World ticket pre-sales numbers show it could be an Eternals or even the Marvels level box office flop. We were talking about this last week, remember? We were talking about how the budget it was like $3 million per minute of the movie, like making it.
Yeah, it was like 3.3 or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so it's going to have approximately a high estimated budget of 500 million and so 500 million with marketing, with everything, and then you have licensing to the theaters, which is going to be like you're going to need nearly $1 billion for this one to break even.
Oh yeah, you will. They shot 2 movies and spliced them together.
Yeah. Well, and there was also where I wonder if it's in here, if the linked article is in here as well. Shortest runtimes. No, okay. I'm
Yeah,
not,
and they cut 40 minutes out of this movie too.
yeah. Well, the story I was looking for was it's rumored that the Red Hulk is only going to be in this movie for a few minutes, like a very, very, very small segment of the movie. Which I obviously the trailer, I mean, the trailers and stuff like that really do not make it look like that's going to be the case. But I mean, if it's true, that would be such a shit.
Well, they have another villain. Who the hell
yeah,
is his name again?
it's that older black guy who's like kind of like looks like a mercenary kind of dude.
I'm gonna say his first name wrong, but Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh,
He plays the Sidewinder.
okay, yeah. Well, I mean, Captain America versus Sidewinder is probably a more fair fight than him versus Red Hulk.
Oh yeah, especially when he doesn't have any super serum.
Exactly. Super. Sorry, I heard something different than what you said.
Super semen.
Yeah, he doesn't have any. Not behind him or in front of him. But yeah, when comparing it to like the Eternals, first off, we went and saw the Eternals. Or did I just see the I think
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I thought. Okay, yeah, I saw the Eternals. It was bad. It was really bad. But the troubling comparison to the Eternals, released in 2021, the Eternals marked Marvel's first major financial failure, grossing just 164.9 million domestically and 237.2 million internationally, for a worldwide total of 400 million. The Eternals had a production budget of 236 million. Flop. Yeah, huge flop. And then you have, what was it to the Marvels? The Marvels had a production budget of 274 million.
Why did that cost so much?
Oh, dude, Brie Larson's expensive.
I guess.
Forbes estimates the true cost to be closer to 374 million, comparable to higher end of Brave New World's rumored budget. Where was the comparison breakdown here? I thought they did a comparison breakdown for Marvel. For the Marvels in the article. I read through it earlier. Maybe not. Marvels. Okay, here it is. Okay, so Marvel's grossed nearly 200 million worldwide, including 82 million domestically. 82 million is nothing domestically.
Oh yeah.
That's nothing. And then 124
we
million.
were one of the few that went to it.
Yeah, we were at least $50 of that. That was bad. And I mean, they'll lose a lot. They lost a lot from that, considering how much it actually cost and how little they made. But if Captain America's box office estimates are that bad, here we go. Box office projections confirm the decline. As previously reported, opening weekend projections for Brave New World are estimated to land between 81 million and 100 million, with a median figure of 96 million. Many outlets are quick to point out the film is tracking similarly to 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier, as if that's a positive. So, I mean, good point, but
that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, it was 11 years ago. You were in the middle of the Infinity Saga, and honestly, you had other big actors in it too. Like you had Robert Downey Jr. in Winter Soldier. You had Chris Evans in Winter Soldier. There's other people who are in the Winter Soldier. So there were other things bringing in money to look at. This is not going to be that. Harrison Ford is not the draw he used to be. I mean, I reserve the right to be wrong on that, but he's
and he fucking hates doing anything these days. So
yeah, I don't understand how you know how much money they had to pay him to get killed off in Star Wars? It's like
he's been trying to get that done for like 40 years.
It's finally over. But
Just kill me off.
But you and I were thinking that so we both gave our estimates last week on it. I think I said somewhere around 300 million is what this movie would make. Comparing it to the Marvels at 300 million, I think this one will probably get more than the Marvels. I don't expect it to lose to the Marvels. I don't
know, man. Marvel's really lost like a lot of fans and whatnot since then too, with all the TV shows and shit that they've been putting out.
It could. It could. But I mean, even the Eternals beat out the Marvels, right? I mean, so I
Yeah,
mean,
that was like the beginning of phase 4, 5.
yeah.
I don't know what phase we're fucking on.
I think we're in phase 4, looking forward to phase 5, and I could have the. It could be 5 into 6, but I'm pretty sure we're phase 4. Honestly, yeah, this whole thing is going to be a debacle. I mean, even the Chinese are mad. So the Chinese
When are they happy?
a Chinese poster for Captain America: Brave New World partially obscures Anthony Mackie's face. Is Disney abandoning its DEI morals for Chinese money? They don't.
They do that. They have been doing
They have always done that. They don't. Their DEI morals only apply to the U.S. They have always abandoned DEI for Chinese money. Always.
They covered Chadwick Boseman's face for Black Panther. They made John Boyega smaller in Force Awakens.
No, they delete him
there's a
in
long
Force
list.
Awakens. Like
They
he's
might.
gone. No, here we go. Like this is it. Like
Oh, they did. They just took him out.
yeah, he's on the. You can see him on the right picture. You can see him on the right, blue lightsaber, and then in the left picture, he is gone. He's just gone.
He's gone.
They like. This is the kind of thing that I'm just like, what the fuck? You fucking hypocrites. You are impossible to tolerate because it's so blatant. Oh, dude, Black Panther was, in my opinion, Black Panther is almost just as bad. Like, let me
They kept his eyes in it. It's so weird.
look at that. They just come. They just like Black Panther. What were they hiding? Like, what were they trying to pretend they didn't? They were just hiding him. I mean, it's entirely possible that they just wanted a different version of Black Panther, like thumbnail. Like they just wanted a creatively different cover. And then you remember, oh, it's China. No, they didn't. It's like
No, they did.
no,
They just don't like the blacks.
they don't like them at all. It's really frustrating. Now, relative to these two changes, I would make the case that this article is a little bit this is a little trigger happy. I feel. I see what they I see
It
what-
might be, but
Well, here's the cover that we're talking about. They like this is the shot they're talking about. Like Anthony Mackie's face is slightly obscured, but I don't know that this was intentional. It's not obvious to me that this one was intentional. The others, it's blatant. It's so obvious.
isn't this the scene where you got like the what's the name of that tree in Japan with the pink blossoms and whatnot? But isn't that the same scene? Did they take it out because they not mention Japan in the movie at all either? Because China and Japan don't get along.
Oh, I don't know. It's entirely possible that they did, and I would have missed it. The the storylines revolving around this movie are a little bit hard for me to like sift through. I'm finding it very difficult to understand the synopsis of this one. It's like wasn't most of the Anthony Mackie like Captain America and Winter Soldier like identity crisis of Captain America figured out in the previous story? Like what are we doing here? Is this just the one to establish him as Captain America and the other ones were like the drama behind it? I can't tell what this story is supposed to be. And I've been looking. I've been trying to figure it out.
I think it's like, all right, after this, now you're the definitive Captain America.
And then they bring Chris Evans back for a third time in Marvel.
Right.
This would be
Well, he's gonna play Nazi Cap or something.
Yeah, it'll be the third character Chris Evans will play in Marvel. I love it. I do like it. The fact they brought both Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. back. I've been thinking about this for a few weeks. I'm not convinced it's good storytelling, first and foremost, but I am slightly curious about its entertainment value. Will I be entertained by the jokes, by the dramas about it, by the way they play to it? Like, will I be entertained? I don't know. Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are both talented. They're stupid, but they're both talented. I mean,
It's a very desperate move, and that's all it is.
right. Hopefully, honestly, more flops. I'd be fine with like them starting over. DC's already done that like 7 times. So I mean,
Right. Just start over, dude. Just hit the reset. Start off with Fantastic Four and a new X-Men.
you know what might even be kind of cool? If you did like a 20-year plan where you did the Infinity Saga, now you start over, whole new cast, whole new everything, You do with the X-Men, like what you were saying with the Fantastic Four with the X-Men, you tell a story inside of that. You tell an isolated story inside of that, and then maybe do a crossover at some point. Could be kind of a fun little side experiment to do. Maybe even like a spin-off trilogy where you're telling like an Avengers style movie where you bring these two universes together. I mean,
I would. You know how you end it? You
wow.
either make a really long movie or a trilogy, a new Deadpool trilogy of Deadpool kills Marvel Universe. That ends it, and then you start anew.
I think there was an interview with Ryan Reynolds, and not to say I mean, first off, I don't think someone else could play Deadpool. Maybe someone could. I don't think that's true. But Ryan Reynolds said in an interview he was done with Deadpool. Now,
Did he?
Yeah, he said that people asked him if he'd do a Deadpool 4, and he said no. It's like, and
No.
yeah, he said something about Blake killing him and or being super pissed at him and stuff, and how if the way he would do Deadpool 4 is if if Blake left, he said he was doing Deadpool 4 and then Blake left him and he needed to do it for the money. That would be the way he'd get back to it. I'm paraphrasing and maybe even butchering it, but I think Ryan might step away. I mean, honestly, Deadpool Wolverine, that was probably his dream come true. I think he got so much creative control over that. I don't think it gets better for him in the context of Deadpool's my character, he's my role. I'm doing everything right by it or as best I can by it. I think he's probably accomplished what he set out to accomplish in Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, that's what I see.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote the damn thing, so.
Yeah, it's wouldn't you put that feather in your hat and kind of if it was you, if you got to play the
Walk
ideal role,
away.
wouldn't you want to step away before
It turns to shit.
Before it turns to shit, you burn out, you lose creative control, and then the studio forces you into another Weapon X style role for Deadpool. It's the longer you go on, the more potential you have to drop the ball somewhere. And I wouldn't even necessarily say would be Ryan's fault. I was just saying there's more opportunities for failure if you push that too far. That was actually. Do you remember?
He's 48 right now, so.
Yeah. Do you remember Sons of Anarchy? Kurt Sutter, the original. I think he's the writer. I don't know if he's the producer, the writer. I think he starred and wrote it. Because he plays as Otto. He plays Otto in Sons of Anarchy. He was talking about how there was not going to be a season 8. They weren't going to continue with Sons of Anarchy because he didn't want the story to burn out, and he said something that he didn't want to go to a convention or something and see one guy in a Sons of Anarchy trucker hat and have the show have fizzled out. Now I know you weren't satisfied with the Sons of Anarchy ending. We've talked about it before, but
I didn't even watch the last season.
Well, okay, well, but the idea of
It fizzled out for me before that.
But Marvel is another perfect example. Marvel is overstaying its welcome and starting and just telling bad stories in order to keep the pump in order to keep the sewer pipe flowing. Right? It's there is a moment in time to identify when you have been invited to leave. It's some self-awareness on that front would be welcomed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they have it, and they're just gonna continue. Because we got Thunderbolts next.
Right.
No one gives a fuck about that.
No one does. If that movie makes money, blow me away. Studios also can't do from a money perspective. They also can't even operate. They can't balance their budgets at all. I think studios that have to work within a budget and have to scrap and scrunch to make their movie together tend to just be so much better. I don't know what it is about scarcity of resources that just draws this artistic creativity out of people in those industries, but when you just...
It does. It makes it more challenging. You have to figure out tricks and unique ways of doing things.
Exactly. And these studios just give them infinite money, and then they're like, well, we can do a whole new round of reshoots if we have a problem with this one problem in the story.
I can reshoot this entire movie.
That's far simpler than coming up with a creative solution to this problem we stumbled across or created for ourselves. That's all super fun.
Yeah, I don't need good writing when I can, just shoot fucking 20 hours worth of footage and then splice shit together to make it somehow work.
Well, what about like Marshall Ali's Blade project? Aren't they like 5 years, like 5.5 years in now with like 4 sets of reshoots?
Yeah, it was announced in like 2019, and
Yeah.
I think they've gone through 4 or 5 scripts.
Yeah, that's it's like they are so desperate to like just keep that money train flowing. I wonder, someone wrote in one of our comments that that like ending a movie or like canning a movie and choosing not to air it after having like nearly finished it is a tax write-off. I was like, dude, you make, I mean, like you're not writing off the exact value of the item. Like you're not
Right.
going to get all of that money back. You lose so much. You would still make more by publishing it and taking the L. But that's their prerogative, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Star Wars is kind of having a bit trouble too. They're on their 5th writer for the Rey movie coming up.
Mm-hmm. And
So they
honestly,
can't get their shit together either.
no, but I mean, what's their incentive? It's like they're not trying to like please the fandom anymore. Well, I would make the case Disney never has. I would say Disney has never tried to please the classic Star Wars fandom.
Oh, no.
Maybe,
It's for the modern audience.
yeah, maybe maybe Mandalorian was a crack at that. I don't know. I think Star Wars is a dead brand. So
Kinda, yeah.
yeah. What are the stories we got here? So this other story I wanted to run past you was fired Marvel showrunner Bo DeMeo indicates he'll expose Kevin Feige before court date, accuses Marvel of disregarding Black stories. I dug into this a little bit deeper, and I actually really appreciate where this guy is coming from with a lot of this stuff. Now, when I first hear like Marvel isn't taking Black stories seriously, my mind goes to, oh, this is an activist. This isn't a
Right.
serious person. But then I remember,
It's left on left crime.
well, and Bo DeMeo has been someone we've talked about on the channel before. He's been he was involved in X-Men 97. So when we were talking about the
Yeah.
X-Men 97 stories, like his comments were coming forward as well. So I was like, hold on, why am I thinking this guy's the activist when he's been calling out this stuff? It's like, so the post that people have been talking about is, I really want this show to be good. So he's talking about Wonder Man gonna be satire, and he says, really want the show to be good, but this makes sense as Marvel Studios does not take black people or our stories seriously. How could they when you have top execs making race jokes about black writers in notes meeting, or saying, well, you can pitch that because you're black? Honestly, it's like, I think that like a big criticism of, I would say, my side of the culture war is that you, rather than telling a good black story, you race swap and you fill in with tokenism in any project you can, and you don't actually go off. You don't actually tell any stories that, I mean, the like black audiences are asking for. Now, I actually have
I mean, they can't tell a good white story either.
to fair point.
Whatever a white story means, but
Well, that's the thing. It's like, people are saying like, when people say that they want black stories or they want new black stories, I'm like, don't you just want new
Good
stories?
stories.
Well, but if you want, I mean, if you had oh my god, this is so complicated. You tie it into like, I see myself in movies, or I see myself in projects and IP. It's like, first off, you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to, if a character is well written, you should be able to relate, because the writer is supposed to want the audience to relate to every character they have in a project, or at least understand every character. If you put a character inside of a movie and people just cannot understand anything about what this character is doing, I mean, then you got nothing. Now, like if you look at like the Joker is a character that is like beyond help, but people understand the Joker. They're like, oh,
Right.
he is insane. He is the antagonist. He does have an axe to grind against Batman. He is the villain. He's like the perfect villain archetype. I understand him. He's not someone I can't
I don't
comprehend.
relate to him,
Yeah,
but I understand him.
exactly. You should be able to understand the characters that are put in front of you. And I think that if we had better, I think if we had better writing around those characters, we would probably see less of this I don't see myself in projects. Because like a good hero, a good protagonist should be relatable. You should see the good in that person and feel a bit of yourself in that experience.
I want to aspire to be something greater.
Exactly.
Like that's why Superman works, because you're supposed to aspire to be better, not just like, oh, I can relate to this godly person.
Exactly. Well, and sorry, examples of that are when he was talking about I'll actually jump ahead a little bit in the article. When he was doing X-Men 97, they were talking about Storm and her character. And then I was thinking to myself, well, Storm was like one of the worst parts of that show.
Yeah, her character kind of sucked in that one.
But we got DeMeo, he alleged that Marvel executives attempted to recast Storm for the show, initially rejecting legendary voice actress Alison Seeley Smith, who brought the character to life in animation back in the 90s. This was reportedly because she didn't sound African enough, according to DeMeo. And then another quote from DeMeo, it was odd hearing a table of white Marvel execs telling me and other black crew members that we were wrong because she didn't sound African enough, whatever that means. DeMeo said we went with their pick, then they realized we were right and forced the team to break their backs re-recording half of the season with the OG Storm. Honestly, Storm was the rewrites probably, first off, changing the character of Storm like at the beginning of things and recasting was the first mistake. Then, in my opinion, Storm is the worst part of all of X-Men 97. I would say her
side story was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Exactly. It was kind of stupid, and I really didn't have any fun with that at all. And then you go back and they're doing re-recordings with the new voice actress. I'm sure, yeah, she did. I think the voice actress did fine. I just think the story sucked for that part of the show. But all of that to be said, if that's how they are approaching, this is just testimony. I mean, this is just testimony from DeMeo, so we have to take him at his word. This is not a matter of record. So, but I mean, it sounds very Disney to me, or it sounds very Marvel to me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are people that can't get parts for certain things, like say you're like half white, half black. Sometimes you'd be like, oh, you're not black enough to play this part or some shit.
Right.
Or there's shit like that all the time.
Or you're too black to play this part with Severus Snape and Harry Potter. It's
like, you know why Pedro Pascal gets all these parts? It's because they refer to him as white passing. He's white enough and Latino enough to get multiple parts.
I really wish that a lot of these conversations around, like, first off, race swapping just doesn't need to exist. People give us criticism for complaining about it. I would like them to make the argument for why it needs to exist, and a better argument than I need to see myself in this project. If you are struggling to see yourself in the project, it's probably because the writing is shit. And it's not necessarily because it's a race issue. But, and then, if you really need that to be the case, if you really do need to see yourself, and like we have to compromise between getting good stories and seeing yourselves in the project, then yeah, your next thing would probably be to ask for like original black stories. It's like, okay, go do it. Do whatever, go ahead and do it. But I don't get the ask. I don't understand the ask. So there was a conversation apparently between Yellow Flash and Beau DeMeo. So Flash says woke whites are the fakest of them all. So he's talking about referencing to the Marvel executives. There's truth to the DeMeo responds, there's truth to this. God damn it.
Son of a.
Okay, there's truth to this. Worst racism I've experienced in my life has been from well-meaning, in quotations, woke white people. They're also oddly the least receptive to constructive feedback on how they can do better. Stop it. That tracks.
It's the bigotry of low expectations.
It's that, and then, I mean, the things that people used to call racist, like tokenism, is like their first card they play. It's like we have to fit, like it's identitarian, fill the box, check or fill and check the box. It's I don't get it. I don't understand the need for this shit. It's first off, it's the wrong thing to be doing in a writing room. You should be trying to focus on telling the story properly. And honestly, we don't have to really make the strong case that they're failing at that, because their own numbers prove that they are failing to tell good stories. It's like if representation was what was making films good, your numbers would be good. Like you'd have proper numbers.
The numbers don't lie, man.
It's math. Math cannot lie. Zoom follows up by
It can be racist though.
yes, absolutely. Is Kevin Feige one of those people? And Bo responds, I can't say at this juncture, but will once the court date is closer. So it sounds like there is prepping for more of this court case that's going on. The court is regarding his non-disclosure agreement. So I guess the article headline the article headline says that before the upcoming court case, where is the serious? Sorry, I'm trying to find should have highlighted this part of things. I'll summarize while I look for it. But basically, DeMeo is trying to get his part of the non-disclosure agreement that is regarding around criticism removed, so that now he will be able to actually speak candidly about what the company was doing.
Yeah, I mean, good luck with that. NDAs are a bitch.
Well, okay. Think this is what I was looking for. Here we go. So previously, DeMeo's attorney, Brian Friedman, filed a lawsuit against Marvel Studios in September seeking to invalidate the non-disclosure or the non-disparagement provision in DeMeo's separation agreement with the company. Friedman contends that the clause violates new California law designed to limit the scope of non-disclosure agreements, particularly those that could prevent employees from disclosing information about unlawful acts in the workplace, such as harassment or discrimination. Yeah, so I mean, It sounds like there's an argument. It sounds like, I mean, I don't know this new law that California put out to limit the scope of non-disclosure agreements, but I do know non-disclosure agreements have been a topic of conversation politically over the last year. So I'm guessing there was a lot of movement in that sphere of law. So maybe there is an argument to be made here that he can get himself out of the non-disparagement portion, or non-disparagement provision, which would open some doors for him to actually levy some criticism against Marvel on this side of the world. So I'm actually excited for that. I hope that actually does win out, because honestly, like, more criticism against Marvel is welcome.
That are prohibiting everyone from even talking bad about Disney. Like, you have to go through like certain channels and whatnot. Like Gary from Nerdrotic, he's got like insiders and whatnot that can't say shit. They can kind of like give him like little hints and whatnot.
Oh, so he has to infer from their clues, right?
Yeah, and I mean, they'll straight up say too, like this Captain America movie apparently is just complete dog shit. They have more faith in the Thunderbolts.
Really?
The internals at Marvel do. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I don't know where that optimism for it comes from. I mean, I haven't met a single person who knows who they are. Like in regular life, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that
apparently
Thunderbolts.
It's not even the original Thunderbolts. They're all like new Thunderbolts. So.
Oh, well, then what the fuck?
I don't know.
It's
like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right, exactly. So DeMeo, good luck in the lawsuit, man. I hope that actually works for you. And I hope that we can hear more about what's going on at Marvel. If you do have anything to say about Feige and who's the other guy? Well, it's just Feige, right? Kevin Feige.
It's just Feige now. Yeah, he outed the other guy.
Right. If you have more to say about Feige, I would be curious to know about it. I'm not for this, like, let's go ruin the lives and reputations of people who said a race joke. Like, I'm not for that. Like, that's the overstepping that people have been rebounding against. Because I think one of his criticism was that well, actually, yeah, we have that tweet up here. So I really want this show to be good. How could they, when you have top execs making race jokes about black writers in notes meeting? I'm like, is it a joke? Is it intended to cause comedy, cause laughter to everyone in the room? Or was it actually like, or was it actually like black people worse because like that
It's
like
more of a statement. Than a joke.
yeah, it's like I'm not saying every joke is good taste and shouldn't be like called out or criticized. I'm just saying that like reputation destruction based on like attempts at humor, you're going to lose me. I'm going to be on the opposite side of that fight every time.
I think there was like it might have been the guy that was partners with Kevin Feige that got Me Too'd because of a sexual joke. So he just got fired for that.
Exactly. Reputation destruction based on like humor should be like a perfect defense. It should be like, Your Honor,
Right?
did you laugh? Did you?
It's like those kids in those stupid fucking prank videos where they like do something horrendous and it's like, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank.
If the
Which immediately is like, oh, sorry, okay.
if the joke causes a fit, you must acquit. I was
It's
trying
just
to
a joke, bro.
I'm sure I could have come up with something a little bit better, but that was the fastest one I could come to. Let's talk about Marvel Rivals. There's been a lot. Oh my gosh, what a week for Marvel Rivals. So, Marvel Rivals Spring Festival event for Chinese New Year kicks off January 23rd. So, at the time of this recording, it's been going on for a little bit. And it comes with a lot of cool things. I'm going to zoom in here for the audience to see a little better. NetEase's Marvel Rivals is launching the new event called Spring Festival to celebrate the Chinese New Year. The event includes new limited time mode called Clash of Dancing Lions, featuring 3v3 gameplay and a ball possession objective. So,
Oh shit.
yeah, so they made what's the frickin' Rocket League in Marvel Rivals. I don't know that that's true. I have not played this limited edition game mode yet, or limited time game mode. But if it is only around for a little bit, I am going to definitely be checking that out, probably this weekend. Players can earn limited time cosmetics by completing tasks in the Fortune and I thought I was going to say Fortune cookies. Fortune and Colors customization event, including new costumes and nameplates.
That's the loot box. It's the fortune cookie.
Yeah.
Breaks open.
I would honestly, comedy. I would love that. See, we can't you can't reputation destroy us because it's comedy. The game update will include hero adjustments, which we need a little bit of rebalancing. I haven't been taking notes, but I do think there's some room for balancing adjustments, and the release of a new Spider-Man outfit, Advanced Suit 2.0, on January 30th. So that's coming up here still soon. Upcoming releases for the game include The Thing, Human Torch, and potentially some X-Men characters based on recent data mines. And we have that story as well.
Yeah, the only thing that that I can really think of that really needs improvement is more characters for tank and support.
Right.
Because DPS is just
DPS
insane.
is too much. And honestly, I think Mr. Fantastic was probably meant to be a little bit overpowered because of the excitement around his character. I think Invisible Girl is awful. I think she's awful to have my partners play as, and I think she is awful to play as.
I haven't played any of them. I haven't played in over a week.
Her shields are insanely breakable, and they don't move. If they followed you and gave you some heals, that'd be better. But there are other healers who once they connect with you, you will be healed regardless of where you move. But with Invisible Girl's healing support, you have to stay in lock position behind that shield.
Did I think I sent you a YouTube short or whatever where it's explaining the frame rate, the higher frame rate you have, the longer distance you can travel with attacks.
Yes.
The more attacks you can do.
Yep. I did see that. I did see that short myself. I think you might. Yeah, you did send that to me, or maybe I sent it to you.
I don't know, but yeah. So if you got a beefed up PC, you're gonna do better.
Right. Which is okay. Which, if that's the case, I would understand then immediately why you can't play competitive crossplay. Hopefully they.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Hopefully they just fix that and they don't rest on their laurels, because I would prefer to play crossplay competitively than casually. I don't actually.
Why not just have a locked 60 frames per second?
Counter to that.
Like a bunch of other games.
Counter to that. Make me, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. What if I want 30? What if I
I'm
want?
sorry, your shitty console can't keep up with my PC.
I want 30. I demand 30.
You want 30? I want less.
I want 10 frames per second. I want it to feel like a fucking flip book.
I want it to feel like I'm watching that War of the Rohirrim again.
That movie was shit. Which is the joke. Marvel Rivals.
10 frame per second movie.
We should talk about the data mine though, because there was a lot of cool shit found in here, and we're gonna go through this article for sure. Marvel Rivals data mine of new patch reveals more characters and even more abilities in the code. The data mine revealed unannounced heroes including Gambit, Rogue, Jubilee, Nightcrawler, and Beast. So I am feeling that I feel that like the Beast is pretty
This is going to be a tank for sure.
Yeah, I feel like he obviously has to be a tank. I feel like Gambit could. Okay, I have an interesting take on Gambit as a tank. I first off, I get it, the skepticism there. I'm just saying, like, if he played kind of like Captain America, where he could run around, be very mobile, and attack well, I think he'd be really good to play around like kind of like Spider. Like a combination between Spider and Captain America, plus maybe like Iron Fist. Where
Yeah, but I bet you anything that all these guys are DPSs except for Beast.
Nightcrawler probably, Jubilee probably not. Yeah, Jubilee probably couldn't be a healer. Rogue can't be a Rogue can't heal. She can't heal for shit. Gambit, I don't know. You're right. DPS is definitely going to be flooded. If you're going to struggle this hard to come up with tanks, though, you might as well just make it all DPS and give the characters some healing abilities. Notable abilities found include those for Professor X, Colossus, and Nightcrawler, indicating future gameplay elements. Professor X in this game.
Please tell me he's stuck in that wheelchair.
Well, it'll be the
got no
hovering wheelchair.
verticality.
It'll be the hovering wheelchair that floats around.
I want it to be wheels, bro.
I want it to be wheels too, dude. I need that actually. I really want that so badly. Colossus,
It's fucked when you come up against stairs.
Colossus, a healer.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
I'm
why
kidding.
not?
No, I'm kidding. Colossus tank for sure. But let's see. We go through it a little deeper. So, we know that Gambit is a duelist. That's already done. Rogue is a strategist. Wait, how? Wait,
I could see, like, I don't know, maybe draining the enemy health and then giving it to teammates, kind of thing.
okay, yeah, I that could work. And then Nightcrawler will be a duelist as well. So it's Jubilee and Beast who are unknown. Honestly, I feel like Beast should be just like default understood, but I could be wrong on that front. He'll probably play a lot like Venom though, where he'll be like a super dive tank.
Yeah, it'll be like Hulk and shit like that.
Right. Professor X. So X-Men. We know there's an X-Men collection, potential stimulation, mind projection. Mind projection could be interesting to play or to do. That would make him an interesting tank if you had him in the hover wheelchair and he could make clone or he can do mind projection like stun. Anyway,
Yeah.
it could be done. It'd be an interesting one to do. Jai Jing, Fairy Wings, Fairy Healing, Paste Pot Pete. I don't know who that is. Sticky Bomb, Glue Lasso, Pay Attention to Your Feet, Colossus, Giant Punch, Steel Colossus, Locust, Unstable Structure, Stable Structure, Energy Lock. I'm reading through these, and we don't need to read through them, but Beast will have some really cool looking abilities. Field Experiment, I'm very curious to know what that one will be. Let's see. Nightcrawler will have just a bunch of different fighting abilities and phase shift. So
He'll probably be a lot like
Tracer.
What's his fucking Iron Fist? Only he phases around.
I was thinking more
Gets up in your face.
I was thinking more like Tracer from Overwatch.
Yeah, that's more Star-Lord though.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good take. Jubilee with the fireworks and the bombs, obviously. Rogue ability to draw, ability acquisition, skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. Okay, so they don't have...
Yeah, I think she's going to be able to take health from opponents and give it to allies or something.
That one took me a little bit by surprise. I was not thinking that was going to be the case. Gambit, node card array projection, node card array recycling, energy
accumulation. I wonder if he would be a tank.
So the longer he makes contact with something, or the more he makes contact with something, the kaboomer it is. The more kaboom. Given the
Kaboom.
given the Thing and Human Torch release date hasn't been revealed yet, don't expect those heroes anytime soon. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we're gonna have a few months before, probably a couple of months before we see more characters come in. The Thing and they didn't really announce the Fantastic, Mr. Fantastic or Invisible Girl though. They were kind of just like, hey, this week you're gonna have 2 new characters. And then you
Yeah, it was like a week notice.
And honestly, I thought we were talking about actually the Thing and Human Torch coming out. That was already new. That was news before we knew we'd get the Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Girl. So we already,
Yeah, it kind of flip flopped there.
yeah. So they already circumvented our expectations. So I mean, they could release these in any combination of orders. The Fantastic Four makes sense though, considering the new project coming out or the new movie coming out. But to be first, I mean, but we have a Cyclops. I know you're waiting for your boy to come out.
I want Cyclops.
I think Gambit's the guy I am probably most excited to play. And if he's like a high skill character, I'm gonna commit to trying to figure him out.
I'm a Nightcrawler fan too, so
Nightcrawler could be
I'll
fun.
be fucking with that.
I like high skill characters in this game really like are hard for me. This is not a game I can really pick up a skill 5 character or a difficulty 5 character and just be awesome with. Like last night I actually was playing CS2. I was going back to Counter-Strike, which I had not played in a while. And I miss Counter-Strike. I'm going to be very, very committed to playing more Counter-Strike again here soon. So look forward to
Yeah,
that.
you're playing that for a while.
Yeah, I was up till like 1 o'clock last night playing CS2. So it was a late night. I enjoyed it. I missed it. So it was I didn't know how much I missed it until I played it. I think that's pretty much everything though.
Yeah, I think we're good, man.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Third Party Podcast. If you enjoyed the content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It is free. It's the best way to show your support. Smash that like button. Share the video out there so that we can reach more people and you guys can hang out with us in the chat. Comment below what your favorite topic was, if there's any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. And don't forget to check out the merch store with the link in the description. We will see you guys on the next episode. Go tell your stories. Peace out.
Tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life.